So how many languishes have you seen recently? I haven't seen very many.
0.
Not to say that languish isn't a great card, because it is, but it's only as good as the format allows it to be.
Right, and right now there's a lot of 5 toughness and a lot of copies of Hangerback Walker.
We're underway here in game number 1 between Calcano and Cook. It's a Temple of Malady, scry to the top. We're going to head Zachary's way. He's got a Battlefield Forge. He'll pass the turn back. Calcano with the Hangerback Walker. Wild Slash is going to take care of that. Calcano will get a Thopter token. We're going to head back Zachary's way. He'll sacrifice Flooded Strand, go get himself a basic island, play a Jace, Vryn's Prodigy. It's a pretty good start here for Zach.
Yep. Jace fits in so nicely into Jeskai aggro decks. So many good cheap spells to flash back. And it just feels like a Merfolk Looter deck. You have some cards like Wild Slash that are really good in some matchups and not that great in others.
Let you build your deck in a certain way, too.
Yeah.
Here's another Hangerback Walker for Calcano. He'll play a Sandstorm Citadel, pass the turn back. Cook will draw a copy of Mystic Monastery. For example, a card like Stratus Dancer, maybe not particularly good right now. Maybe happy to discard that.
Not good face up, not good face down.
Yep. Pretty good in the graveyard, though. There is a Plains. It looks like it will be morphed. Perhaps a little surprise here.
Well, I think the issue right now is the leftovers in Zachary's hand are worse. I think it's another copy of Jace and a Mystic Monastery. So definitely not a great spot here for Stratus Dancer, but better than doing anything else right now.
That's your morph right now. Calcano playing against a Jeskai deck. You might be able to deduce that. See what Christian wants to do on his 4th turn of the game. He'll start by attacking for 1 in the air with his Thopter. Here's a Temple of Malady. Top card to the bottom. Calcano will just pass. Jace is going to draw and discard now. And it looks like Mystic Monastery, yes, is going to go away.
Yeah, there's some weirdness there because he has Flooded Strand, so he can either Flooded Strand first and then flip the Jace, or get one more loot and then loot again next turn. A lot of ticky-tack sort of decisions here with the Jeskai aggro deck, especially when Jace is involved.
Yeah, Jace kind of pulls you in a couple different directions when you're doing things. There's Flooded Strand, going to sacrifice that, will Cook.
And Jeskai Charm is another card that could pick up a little bit in the face of Hangerback Walker.
I remember the opening stages of Khans of Tarkir Standard. Jeskai Charm was just a 4 of those Jeskai decks.
I think that was a little bit deceptive, though. It just looked like Boros Charm in a deck that wanted Boros Charm, but 3 mana and 2 mana, very different for that kind of effect. But if someone's just hanging back, growing a Hangerback Walker, going to be spots where Jeskai Charm is very, very good.
4 cards in the graveyard now for Zachary. Could flip Jace this turn if he wants to. Looks like he's got some interest. So draw and discard. Mantis Rider is what he picked up. Looks like he's going to discard an additional copy of Jace. It'll flip into the Telepath Unbound now. We'll start with a healthy amount of counters, 5 of them to be exact. Perhaps that elevator's going up. Again, what's interesting is Cook is kind of being pulled in a couple different directions. I'm sure he'd like to be able to play Mantis Rider and leave the mana available to flip over that Stratus Dancer.
Yep.
He's just not there yet.
He also can't cast Mantis Rider and flashback Wild Slash this turn, which is another reasonable line of play because he only has Battlefield Forge's red mana.
Yep. So he's going to start by ticking down. And he will attack. Interesting play here. Tick down first to give Wild Slash flashback, then attack.
Well, because he doesn't want Calcano to go block and pump. But doing it this way does allow Calcano to pump in response to the Wild Slash.
He says he just wants to take down the Thopter token.
So I think that Zachary's line of play here is just to eventually use his copy of Jeskai Charm to reset this Hangerback Walker after Calcano has spent some time growing it.
That's what it feels like. And that could be nice for maybe a mana type thing. where maybe he gets Calcano to just be stuck on a mana the entire time.
Yep.
Looks like Hangerback Walker's just going towards Zachary, not going to take down Jace. However, I think we got a Wingmate Rock on the way. Yep.
That would explain it.
Yeah. It's going to bring a token along with it. It's been a little while since we've seen Wingmate Rock. You know, one of the things about this card, we talk about Abzan aggro getting pushed out because of Languish. This was a card that just got pushed out because of Languish.
But it's still powerful in plenty of spots, especially against Jeskai aggro. They don't handle 4 toughness that well to begin with. There's a couple copies of Valorous Stance and Stoke the Flames hanging on people's decks, but once you get to 4 toughness, a lot of these threats start sticking, and 2 of them really, really hard to answer, and also just shuts out Mantis Rider as a nice side effect.
Temple. Top card's Dig Through Time. That's going to stay on top. That might be a card that can help Cook climb back into this game. Now he's trying to decide how he wants to use Jace. Going to tick up, target the Wingmate Rock. Now here's Mantis Rider. Cook will have to take a damage to cast it. And no good attacks to be had. So just pass the turn back.
And this feels like a game where Zachary's in the middle in the worst way.
Yeah.
He's neither controlling the game nor applying any pressure.
He's stuck.
Yeah.
And given the mulligan to 5, he doesn't have a great way to work himself out of it either.
Yeah. Feels like Calcano's got a pretty sizable advantage on the board and also has 4 cards in hand to Zachary's 1.
Calcano might be ready to get into the attack step. Cook's last card in hand, a Jeskai Charm. Calcano looks like maybe he only wants to attack with the token. He'll go with Wingmate Rock too. Well, we'll get a trigger on Wingmate Rock so long as Calcano does remember it. A little bit of life to be gained here.
And I feel like in this spot with Zachary at 11, Calcano probably wants to try to finish off Jace. He's not quite low enough to finish him off unless Calcano's hand has a lot of Siege Rhinos involved.
Well, it appears he doesn't have any interest. Just going to ignore the Jace. What's the follow-up? We'll start with a Temple of Plenty. Looks like he's going to leave that on top.
Doing the math.
The calculator always doing the math. There's a Rhino. That explains why he's ignoring Jace. He wants to get it over.
Yep. It's an aggressive line of play, but if he's got a Siege Rhino, certainly if he has 2 Siege Rhinos, looks very good.
Mana left over to activate the Hangerback Walker. Dig Through Time to draw here for Cook. He knew that was coming from his little scry action.
But he can't Jeskai Charm and dig in the same turn. And if he digs right now, he can only leave 1 mana left. And even if you found something like land in a removal spell, it still feels like a lot to get out from under this.
Calcano at a healthy 22. He does take 3 to go down to 19 for Mantis Rider, but he's sitting pretty right now. Zach was able to make it competitive for a touch. But one thing we know about Abzan, the power level of their cards through the roof.
Yep. A lot of this is a function of enters the battlefield triggers. You know, Zachary could potentially try to set things up where, you know, he's Jeskai Charming and then flashing it back and trying to pull ahead that way. But that's not an effective strategy against Wingmate Rock and Siege Rhino. The Hangerback Walker is the least of his problems right now, and that's the card that's easiest for him to answer given his hand.
Jake's going to slow down Siege Rhino a bit. Hangerback Walker going to go up to 3 counters. Time for Calcano to draw. Yeah. That's a classic shoulder shrug attack.
Yep.
One of the better ones I've seen. Let's get in there.
Let's see what's going on. Don't know what's in your hand, but let's find out.
Yep. If you make a move, I'll probably make a move.
You're low. I got a bunch of big stuff against a couple small things. Well, let's see what's up.
Yeah, we've all been there.
Put your cards on the table.
All right, Aether Spout Shooter.
Be a good spot for Aether Spouts. Aether Spouts also good against Hangerback Walker.
It's true. Just got charm. Looks like it's going to grant +1/+1 on lifelink. Some blocking to be done here. Looking to kind of try to whittle away the forces.
Maybe try to trap Calcano here into a spell before damage and allowing Stratus Dancer to do something.
Yeah. Hoping Calcano casts something. That's what Zach's doing.
Yep.
In order for Zach to win this game, there's going to have to be some miscalculations from the calculator.
Right.
Don't have a great look in don't have a great look, excuse me, for what Calcano has in hand, however. I have to assume at least one removal spell, but
He could just pass here. That's the safe play.
Siege Rhino not going to kill anything because it only has 2 power right now because of Jace Telepath Unbound's plus ability. Again, remember, lifelink taking place, damage all happens at once, so Cook will get to gain some life. Now we get to see what Calcano has after combat. A morph. Smells like a Den Protector.
Yep.
I'll just pass the turn back.
And I think Calcano has sniffed out that morph is most likely Stratus Dancer.
Well, I think in this instance, even if he's not sure, it's the one that he can play around.
Exactly. It's if it's something else, if it's Ash Cloud Phoenix or some other random morph here, probably doesn't matter all that much. If it was Hidden Dragon Slayer, you would have seen it unflipped by this point. And the best chance Zach has to catch up is if Calcano throws away a turn and a high-value spell into the Stratus Dancer. So he can't block like he just did forever. He's going to run out of Jeskai Charms and what have you. So Calcano is at 23. He can afford to get hit on the way back for a while. And just be careful.
That's what he's trying to do.
I mean, next turn he can go unmorph this Den Protector. We're assuming it's Den Protector. Get back the Wingmate Rock. Here's an Alpha attack. Here's a Wingmate Rock. Even if Zachary's got some stuff to play inside of combat, none of that triggers the Stratus Dancer. None of that allows Zach to do anything with Stratus Dancer, and it's a pretty overwhelming advantage that Calcano's generating.
And just keep doing that.
Yeah. If Cook taps out, go ahead and hammer him with removal spells.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Calcano will do that, but for now, he can just do this.
Nash Rider's going to come in for 3. Temple of Epiphany. Top card is Nash Cloud Phoenix. See where Zachary wants to place that. Now, I actually like the way that both players have played this game. Zachary's trying to force Calcano into a mistake because he's on a mulligan of 5, so he needs something like that to happen. And then Calcano is just unwilling to do anything. He'll un-megamorph Den Protector. It'll get a +1/+1 counter. Wingmate Rock is returned.
It's one of these spots where maybe it's not Stratus Dancer, but if it's not Stratus Dancer, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So I can just assume that it's that and go about my business accordingly.
And you can also hit the line of, all right, prove to me it's Hidden Dragon Slayer then.
Yeah, and because of Siege Rhino in play, I think we would have seen Hidden Dragon Slayer earlier.
Yep. So you can just check that off the list.
Most likely. I mean, if it's Hidden Dragon Slayer, you know, credit to Zach. He's trying to set up some insane trap here, but that's almost certainly not the case.
Dig through time. Top 7, taking 2 with him is Cook.
But that's all of Cook's blue mana. You see now he's just got a red-white temple and a plains available. And this could be a window for Calcano maybe to resolve a removal spell before blocks.
Stoke the Flames. Looks to be an option here for Cook. As is Valorous Dance. Again, a card that is really popular this weekend. See Calcano reaching for that mana already. Maybe he has a removal spell, maybe he doesn't. Mantis Rider looks like it wants to jump in front of Den Protector. And the more Stratus Dancer is looking like it wants to jump in front of the Siege Rhino. Got to cast something now.
Yep. Calcano can just put the ball in Cook's court. Say, do whatever it is you're setting up over there, and Calcano can respond accordingly.
Gonna be pretty tough for that morph to block that den protector. I think we're just seeing a bunch of math here for Cook to see if there's any way out of this situation. So Jace slowed down that den protector. Now here's wingmate rock post. So even though that exchange was sort of favorable,
This is the attack that I was describing that Calcano has. Maybe Cook has a lot of instance or some weird trick or something going on in his hand where he can get out of combat. But the worst case scenario for Calcano realistically is he deals some damage, some of his stuff dies, and he raids another wingmate rock. And how is Zachary getting out from under this? I mean, even Elspeth doesn't matter right now.
yeah. The only card I could think of that Zachary could find here is Terminus, and that's not a...
Right. I mean, a main deck Aether Spouts, you know, because the random sweeper won't matter. The creatures are either too large or Hangerback Walker will simply release Thopters and kill Cook on the way back.
Well, he is going to play a Valorous Stance and then flash it back. Now what? Pass the turn back. I mean, that was a good turn, but he's at 1. Calcano's going to grab them both in attack.
All right, man, what's up?
Yeah. you got something else for me? Stratus answers the more. Christian Calcano going to win game number 1 here over Zachary Cook. Obs on aggro, up a game here over Jeskai aggro. Cook tried his heart out that game, but just working on 2 fuel cards.
Yeah, no, he did some very good sequencing there. There was a while where Calcano had him on the ropes. Could have gone for the kill there a little bit more aggressively in some spots, but I liked Calcano's patience and conservative play. He had an edge on cards, and as long as he didn't do anything too risky and get trapped, he was eventually going to win that game with the resources he had, and that's exactly what happened.
We're going to the sideboards, and we're going to start with Zachary Cook and his Jeskai deck. He's got 3 Disdainful Strokes, 2 Negates, a Stratus Dancer, 2 Revoke Existence, 2 Glare of Heresy, 3 Irishan Clerics, and 2 Elspeth.
I like the Disdainful Strokes. I think the Negates are fine, depending on exactly what he's anticipating out of Calcano's deck, and the Elspeths are powerful here as well.
What do we see on the other side of things here for Calcano?
4 copies of Thoughtseize, 2 copies of Tragic Arrogance, 2 copies of Duress, 2 copies of Self-Inflicted Wound, 2 copies of Herald of Torment, 2 Elspeth Sun's Champion, 1 copy of Ultimate Price. I like Ultimate Price a lot in this matchup. I think Calcano will also bring in his copies of Elspeth, and I like the Duresses. I think that Zachary's deck is redundant enough that Thoughtseize is not great for this matchup, but I do like attacking his spells with Duress.
Well, these players will shuffle up here for game number 2. Zachary Cook will be on the play with his Jeskai aggro deck. We'll talk about the Star City Games summer sale that is taking place all month long. We got our special today here for you, 20% off select Commander and casual staples. Something new we're trying here with the website. We got new sales every day at 11 a.m.
Yeah, you can check back every single day, 11 a.m. Eastern time. It's a new theme every single sale. This one happens to be Commander and casual singles, so foils, legendary creatures, some cards from the unsets, the unglued and unhinged and so forth. 20% off, but limited time offer only. Come back to the website every single day. There'll be a new sale.
Pretty straightforward and easy stuff.
Yes.
But simple is good. StarCityGames.com for more information about our summer sale all August long. And, well, you know, I say all August long, but
not a lot of time left.
No, it's over on Monday. August 31st is a Monday. Calcano, just calculating.
Doing the equations, thinking about probabilities.
Just mathing like crazy.
Various computations.
So we don't see Calcano all that much on the Open Series, unfortunately, but
Listen,
winning when we do.
That game had to do a lot of math. Had to decide at some point whether or not he was going to go after Jace or try to end the game. Picked a line. Had a lot to do with Zachary's specific life total, and the Siege Rhino, he was at 11. And the Siege Rhino represented 3 points of damage guaranteed. 11 minus 3 is?
That's 8.
And that is math.
A number. Oh, that's math.
That's math. So
I was going to say an infinite sign standing up, but
if Zachary's at 12, Calcano might take an entirely different line that game. There is a point where there's a number of Zachary's life total where you kill Jace instead of going after Zachary on that first attack. And the calculator knows exactly where that line is.
It's true.
And it was very thin. I thought it was close, whether or not he was going to go after Jace or Cook.
But you know what he did?
The math.
He did the math. He's 5-0. That's good math, too.
Yeah.
That's right where you want to be numbers-wise.
Rounds played equals wins. That's math. That's also that's math.
Is that an equation?
No, I think that's just a statement of fact.
Oh, okay. All
I
right.
don't think that's an equation.
I defer to your expertise.
You're looking at the wrong dude.
I'm curious, and there's probably no great answer to this question, but I wonder what the best build of Jeskai is right now. It's just such a fluid deck. There's so many different ways you can go out building it. I don't even know if there is a best build.
I really like what Zachary is trying to do with this creature base. I don't know if I agree with all these numbers necessarily. I don't know if Ash Cloud Phoenix is a great threat with Hangerback Walker floating around and so forth, but he's making an effort to find things that if they're on the ground, they don't have to attack to be effective, and then whatever the best flyers for mana cost he can find, they're all on the deck.
I do like the addition of Stormbreath Dragoner. I think Stormbreath Dragoner is just a really well-positioned card right now.
I think so too. I feel the same way about Thunderbreak Regent. Another card I would expect to see a lot of this weekend.
Perhaps your Jeskai Dragons.
Yeah.
Something that we've never said before.
Red Black Dragons, popular deck.
Yeah?
Mardu, though I think that Mardu is not a great deck for this weekend. Not a big fan of Crackling Doom.
I was going to say the
with
same thing.
Hangerback Walker being the marquee card you're trying to kill.
Yeah, Hangerback Walker, again, it's pushed around what people can do, and Crackling Doom is not something you want to be doing right now.
I'll sacrifice this thing. Sure. We got 5/1/1s in play.
I wanted flyers anyway.
All your deck does is cast non-trampling flyers.
Yep.
So a Sea of Thopters could be pretty good.
Mystic Monastery is where Cook's going to start. Calcano with a Temple of Silence. Take a look at the top card. It is now the bottom card to Cook. Mystic Monastery, the draw for the turn. There that is. Pass the turn back. Calcano's drawing. He'll play a Sandstep Citadel, pass the turn back. So players just getting their mana bases set up. Glare of Heresy, the draw here for Cook. Does he have land number 3? He does, but it enters the battlefield tab. It's a Temple of Epiphany. Now he's scrying. Starts like this are why people play red decks. These lands in the battlefield tapped.
Although Hangerback Walker,
That's changed everything.
not great for red decks. I can tell you that firsthand.
You know, watching metagames evolve is always a lot of fun if you just take a step back and look at how things change. You think of the Pro Tour results, Mike Sigris, Blue Red Thopters. It's like that didn't even happen.
Right.
Where'd that deck go?
I like the evolution of Standard because people have this very reductive good card, bad card paradigm that they view things through, and it's just a lot more complicated than that.
And Offenza is here for Christian Calcano.
Some cards are good against some things and bad against other things, and you just try to find the cards that are good against the things people are doing.
Battlefield Forge here for Zachary.
Now that's reductive.
In comes Anafenza. No counter to place on anything just yet. Cook maybe with Ochai's command here. Looks like Jeskai Charm.
Handful instants. Going to play a little bit of a fairies game right now and just hang back on a bunch of instants and just respond to whatever Calcano does.
Cook will draw. Shrew a copy of Ochai's command for the turn. Looks like Glare of Heresy is going to be cast. Yep. That'll take care of Anafenza for good. Now we go back to Calcano, and it'll draw.
And Calcano definitely does not want to get a turn devoured by Disdainful Stroke if he can avoid it. But he may not be able to play around it. He may just have to push through it.
4 mana, Siege Rhino. Counter it. Disdainful Stroke will take care of that. It's the kind of turn Zachary needed.
Yep. Although he still might just be passing here. He's got multiple copies of Jeskai Charm alongside Ochai's command. He can just sit back and respawn for a long time.
Yeah, the one thing that he's missing right now is land number 5 for the Stormbreath Dragon in his hand, so he can play this kind of Fairies-esque game right now. I'm not doing anything you have to play into me. Calcano going to play a morph, likely to be a den protector. That's going to get hit with Ochai's command. Soulfire Grandmaster to the draw off the cantrip. Calcano with the Temple of Plenty. Take a look at the top card. It'll stay on top for the calculator. We're heading back Cook's way. Another copy of Soulfire Grandmaster. He's going to play at least one. We'll see if he wants to play the second one.
I like casting both. I think Cook needs to be just as mana efficient as possible when he's a little bottlenecked on spells.
Get a little more aggressive now, too.
Yep.
There's the 2/2 lifelinker with a whole bunch of relevant text. Calcano considering. He's got 3 mana. He'll go with Anafenza again. The follow-up is a Hero's Downfall. If you're Cook, you're actually probably happy to see that because that means your Stormbright Dragon's probably good.
Yep. And if anything, you know, Calcano just didn't punish you for the turn you tapped out. That's the big thing. He had one threat that's not too hard for you to kill with the tools that you have in your hand and killed one of your 2 Soulfire Grandmasters. You don't really care about the second one dying. The first one's doing all the work.
Stoke the Flames. That's taking care of Anafenza. Now we're going into the red zone with Soulfire Grandmaster. Going to gain some life in this exchange. Soulfire Grandmaster giving that Stoke the Flames lifelink. Calcano with a Scry. And now it appears a Surge of Righteousness. Oh, excuse me, I take that back.
Self-inflicted wound.
Self-inflicted wound, thank you. And now Fleecemane Lion. Wrong hate card. A Plains off the top. Perhaps it's time for Stormbright Dragon. It looks like it is.
This feels like a repeat of game 1, but in reverse, where Calcano's doing a lot of work to kind of shuck and jive and maximize the resources he has, but he is just way out-resourced at this point.
Siege Rhino's here to try to catch him up a little bit. Zachary's got some good cards in hand, though. Elspeth being one of them. Take a draw. Disdainful Stroke the draw.
And it's not what you want to be doing necessarily, but he can also just hang back on defense with Stormbreath Dragon.
I like the race.
It's fine for him to race, but he also, if he feels like the race is going poorly, he can always just kind of shift back.
Got yourself a nice little Jeskai Charm here to put something back on top of the deck. Counterspell in hand, too. Make sure the mana lines up okay. Jeskai Charm's going to put that Siege Rhino back on top.
This sets up Cook for a nice turn of get rid of that via Disdainful Stroke, pull really far ahead in the race.
And Calcano knows is going to get countered. Untap and draw. Disdainful Stroke the draw yet again. Come on in.
The Jeskai Charm, Disdainful Stroke in hand. Cook can just pass.
Fleecemane Lion come across. It's a tie game. Cook will untap. Time to take a draw. Glare of Heresy. Calcano down to 4. Jeskai Charm's going upstairs. Now to get the job done. Zachary Cook's going to win game number 2 over Christian Calcano. Jeskai aggro, Abzan aggro, getting ready here for game number 3. Cook able to play a much different game there on 7 cards and on the play.
And Calcano spent the first couple of turns putting lands into play tapped, and at that point, Cook had a handful of very powerful instants that could react to anything Calcano could set up there. Cook took his time, wasn't rushing to tap out there. The one turn that he tapped out to play 2 copies of Soulfire Grandmaster, Calcano did not have a punishing enough follow-up, and Cook was able to leverage his advantage of resources.
Yeah, I think that's the most important thing, too, is he didn't get punished that turn he tapped out.
Right, if Calcano goes, all right, Jason plus it, could be a very different game. And Cook might have had enough stuff going on to be able to beat even that, but it's different at least. But Hero's Downfall in a 4-4, Cook had enough action in his hand to cover that.
Well, these players will shuffle up here for game number 3. Christian Calcano will be on the play. Let's see if he can calculate a victory here. But we'll talk about IQs very quickly here on the Open Series. Talking about invitational qualifiers of varying levels, including our premier ones that take place at our Open Series events.
Yeah, and what's great about this, bringing this level of organized play to your local store, is if players just want to participate in some big tournaments for some money, that's all it can be. But if you want to get to the Opens, you want to start accruing some Open Series points, this is a great way to do it. On top of that, there's some exclusive prizes like playmats and top 8 pins.
Pretty straightforward stuff. StarCityGames.com for more information about the varying IQs that you can run at your local store. game number 3 between Cook and Calcano about to be underway. Round 6 of Yes 16, 8 today, 8 tomorrow. We'll cut the top 8. Then on Sunday, that's where real fun begins. Somebody's walking out of here with $10,000, their likeness on a card, and invite to our Players' Championship. Sandsep Citadel is where the calculator will begin. A Temple of Triumph here for Cook. Top card to the bottom. A 2-drop here, and Den Protector just face up, looking to go beat downs.
Sure. Implies a hand stocked with action, probably another copy of Den Protector.
Can't Valorous dance that thing. Come on in. You approve?
Love it.
Yeah. Here's a Temple, top card. Bottom card now. Cook will draw Mystic Monastery. He'll play that.
And there is more pressure on Calcano to make plays like this in the post-board games because he needs to get something going before Cook can sit back on a wall of cards like Disdainful Stroke and Ojutai's Command.
Fleeceman Lion. Pass turn back. Cook will draw. He's underneath the gun a little bit here, though he does have a roast. Just drew an island.
When in the second game, when Calcano just sat back for a couple turns and made land drops and didn't play anything, it was trivial for Cook to just have the shields up the whole game. So you don't like to face up a Den Protector, but it's better than your first play being on turn 4 and getting tagged by Disdainful Stroke and then never being able to break through Cook's wall of shield of instants.
Basic Plains via Flooded Strand. That's a roast. See if this resolves. Likely to be the case. And Fleeceman Lion will bite the dust. Calcano untapping and drawing. Here comes the Den Protector. Cook going to go down to 13. There's a Plains. Here is an Anafenza. Cook will sacrifice his Flooded Strand. Down to 12 he goes. Time for him to search up a land. Likely to play a Valorous stance here in a moment. Right now, Zachary Cook is playing his game.
And you saw Calcano there cast Anafenza, had Siege Rhino in hand, but conscious of Disdainful Stroke.
Yep.
Wants to tag Cook with that in the event that Cook taps out for something. Does not want to have that get hit by Disdainful Stroke.
Valor stance takes care of Anafenza. He's untapping his Cook. Now he's drawing. Mystic Monastery. Out of the land he plays, pass the turn back. Then Protector. Along with 4 lands here for Calcano. The 2-1's coming out of the red zone. Cook down to 10.
And look at Cook's hand. It's Stormbreath Dragon, which is very dangerous for him to tap out for, and a couple copies of Disdainful Stroke. If Calcano does not cast the Den Protector on turn 2, I think Cook's a big favorite to win this game.
I think Cook's probably 20.
Right. This is now, I believe that's 10 points of damage just on the Den Protector.
Feels that way. 2 fetch lands involved, so yeah, 10. Exactly 10.
10 and still going. It's not like we're done here.
5 mana. Storm Breath. Stroke at the ready. Cook want to get the race on. Now he's pumping the brakes. Ultimate Price says kindly leave. Calcano will draw. Den Protector in. 2 more.
12 points.
Temple of Silence. Top card. We'll see where that goes. Staying on top. Calcano will pass the turn back. A Jace. Very, very powerful Magic card. 2 Disdainful Strokes at the ready. Can't block Den Protector, though. Ultimate Price again. That works just fine. Calcano going to untap. In there.
14.
And now a Thoughtseize. Show you 2 Disdainful Strokes, 2 lands. Now Calcano knows what he's got to worry about, so the discard spell is actually pretty helpful. He might just be fine saying, yeah, I'll cast a Siege Rhino into this because I know my next spell is going to resolve.
He has Waymate Rock in hand as well.
This entire game set up by a turn 2 Den Protector.
And it's a type of play that a lot of players just don't have the guts to make. Den Protector is a really, really powerful card. It feels anemic to play it face up on the second turn of the game. But Calcano knows the matchup. He knows he just has to get something going before Cook can shield up with all of his instants.
A planes and a pass. Jeskai Charm was the draw for Zachary. Here comes the Den Protector again. Zachary down to 2.
16.
A morph. Now what do you do if you're Cook? Wants to see what's in the graveyard, see what Calcano can return. Jace is the draw. That's not particularly helpful, though. And all of a sudden, a game where it looked like Zachary Cook had all the answers, didn't have an answer to a 2-1. There's Jace. Pass a turn back.
He's essentially got to hope this is not Den Protector face down.
Seems a touch unlikely.
Just saying, that's
Yep.
what he's got to hope for. That's the only thing he can do.
On Megamorph, put a counter, get back a Thoughtseize. Make sure the path is clear.
Jace can't block.
Beatdowns, that's going to do it. Christian Calcano is going to win this game and match over Zachary Cook 2-1. Abzan aggro will take care of Jeskai aggro, but it was a turn 2 Den Protector. Face up, giving the beatdowns that got Calcano that game.
A bold line of play, and something that, you know, if you're playing against, you know, a more casual crowd, more F&M kind of crowd, you may not see that very often, but in that matchup, you saw what happened in game 2 when Cook was able to set up a shield of instance when Calcano had no pressure in play. Cook could navigate the game however he wanted to. He had Ojutai's commands and sustainable strokes for the big plays. He had Jeskai Charm for spots where Calcano was able to sneak in multiple plays. And so Calcano knows he can't just wait until turn 3 and turn 4 to start casting stuff. Even if he's giving up a lot in terms of power level, even if it looks bad, if Cook has something like Magma Spray or Wild Slash, he knows he just has to get on the board. And that was the entirety of game 3.